Hello and welcome back to Sounds on the Couch. I am really looking forward to introducing the guest that we have for you today. So George Dacheff joined us recently for an incredible Saturday night performance with Sounds on the Couch. She pours her soul's truth into her music, connecting people with beautiful melodies and poetic compositions. George's distinctive folky vocals have accompanied her by acoustic guitar or piano and births a unique sound. She's been described as the haunting softness of a songbird. At the end of 2019, George returned to her home in the Perth Hills after spending 2 years aboard in the beautiful BC mountains, and it was where she wrote and recorded her debut EP. I know you'll be looking forward to hearing all about the woman that's behind this music, especially if you heard her beautiful performance with Sounds on the Couch. So I'll bring her up and we can just start having a bit of a chat. Hello, George.
Hi.
Hey. Thank you very much for joining us on the couch today.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Would you like to start by maybe just letting us know a little bit about your background and what's got you to the point where you are now?
Honestly, since I can remember, I would love playing music. I had a little toy piano when I was quite small, and that was, I guess, my introduction to it. And then I'd always get karaoke going and put on shows for my family. It's funny, I completely forgot about that up until a few months ago, and I was like, I had no idea I'd be doing this. I had no idea I'd be a musician. But as I reflected, it's been there the whole time. It's all I've ever wanted to do. But I guess when I went to Canada, that's when I started performing and really sharing my music about the place, and really started unlocking my sound and the beauty in it, I guess, the fun of it.
So what was it that drew you to going to Canada and to starting really getting more serious about your music while you were over there?
Honestly, everything was very hectic in my life when I was living in Perth before I went. And I just needed that restart, that refresh. And I didn't even really realize how beautiful it was going to be over there until I went over there. And I just started going open mic nights, and I wanted to start meeting more like-minded people and jamming. And then once I started doing that, it just flowed. I got offered all these gigs, and the music just started pouring out of me, and I just let it happen. Instead of fighting it before in the past, I think I tried to direct the music a lot more. And then when I went to Canada, there was just like, ooh, let it be.
Oh, that's great. And so what does it mean to be able to share your music to you?
Vulnerability, I think, and courage and connecting with people. To be honest, connecting with people through my music is my favorite thing about it. There's nothing more special than showing my most vulnerable side to people and then having it be received and heard. And I think it's just a huge blessing to get to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I guess I'm very interested in, what are some of the experiences that you've had through that connection and sharing your music?
I mean, honestly, I never wanted to make people cry, but there's something so special that happens when people come up to me afterwards and just say, thank you so much. And they've just had a big cry to it. I don't want to make people cry, but just that for me is so beautiful, because then they've been able to be present in that moment, to just be vulnerable in themselves, I guess, to let the music take them away.
No, that's amazing. And so who have been some of your biggest inspirations along your journey?
Oh gosh, that's a tricky question. I have different sorts of names coming to mind, but oh my gosh, I don't even really.
And I guess that's something that's very, with your music, you are not afraid to be yourself. You are very much George. And I think that's something that definitely does show through your music. And so I guess, a lot of people are very clear about who their inspirations are, but it's kind of nice that you can just be you.
Yeah, totally. I haven't really ever felt very directed. I've never really looked at somebody and been like, I want to be that or create that. And I guess maybe when I was younger, that's what I was trying to do, and that's why I wasn't able to write so much. But then once I got to Canada and let it just start to flow out of me, that was just it. And that was when I stopped that fight from letting myself just be. That's when it all came out, I guess.
Yeah. So do you think from your experience of, going to that change and just not being afraid to be yourself, do you think that maybe there's something that you might be able to impart to somebody else that might be feeling restricted from your experience that you can pass on to them?
Follow your heart.
Yeah.
Just listen to it and its wildest callings. It always knows the way. I feel like it's so easy to get stuck in our head and what we think we should do or what we think we should be, or the direction we should take it. Always listen to what your heart really wants to do, because I guess for me it's been like a unlearning and ripping apart of the conditioning that I've been put on me as a child to then remember who I really am. So I guess the advice that I would just give is listen to your wildest dreams and what your heart is telling you to do.
That's amazing. And so from that learning, I mean, you came back to Perth from there. So what did you bring back from that experience?
Oh my goodness. A whole new strength to just be and be ready, I guess, for facing everything I left behind. And the excitement, I remember the excitement I had to see what it would be like to perform music over here and the people that I was going to meet over here. And to be honest, I was quite excited to relearn the piano. I learned it when I was younger, but then stepped away from it to learn the guitar. And in my return, actually, funny enough, when COVID shut everything down, that's when I had the opportunity to relearn the piano.
Yeah,
so I guess that was a pretty big blessing of coming back.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I hear that you've got a release brewing that's about to come out. Would you like to let us know a little bit about what's coming?
Yeah, certainly, I'd love to. It's called Melody for the Heart. It's an EP, and it's gonna consist of 5 to 7 songs at this stage. I actually, funnily enough, recorded it, but I'm gonna re-record it because it's not quite got the sound that I want behind it, and I want it to really embody what the songs are and what they mean. One song on it, the first single that I'll release, is called Starry Night, and it's a pretty special song to me. My uncle started writing it for his wife and passed away suddenly and never got to sing it to her. And one thing led to another, and she ended up passing the lyrics on to me, and I sat at the piano and was like, all right, what chord? D. And then out flew the song, and it's come to be a really beautiful, special song that people really connect with, which just warms my heart so much. I'm very excited to share that with everybody.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And so, it's nice to have something that's special. And so, what are the other songs on the album? Do they kind of work around that song? Was that the basis for the whole EP?
Well, the name Melody for the Heart actually came from the instrumental that I wrote when I first started relearning the piano. It just started slowly forming, and I called it Melody 4. And I didn't realize right away, but I have this heart chakra singing bowl. And one day I was just like mucking around, and it's in the same tone as the song. So I thought that was so special. So I called it Melody 4, and then in brackets, the heart.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's all the rest of the songs are really just other tales of different love songs in my life. One is about my mom, another one is about my old partner, and compared to the Wake Up Call EP, which was more about, I guess, my awakening and that experience that I had over in Canada, this one's a bit closer to the heart in a way.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so how do you think that your music has kind of developed over this time as you've been progressing through these releases?
Honestly, the music, funnily enough, always seems to know before I know. So I feel like I learn a lot about myself and what I need to know in life as I play. A lot of the time the instrumental will come out and it will be a little while before the lyrics come out, and then all of a sudden the lyrics are there, and it always teaches me so much about what I'm missing or it's always right in front of my eyes, but it's like a little puzzle piece, a little clue where I get to find little bits of advice from my higher self is what it feels like.
Oh, that's great. And I think it's really interesting as well that with your songwriting, you've just said that, you know, the lyrics often come later for you, which so many people start with lyrics in their process and they talk about that a lot more. And so how have you found talking to people or other songwriters about your own process? Have you found that it's been different?
I have met a few people as well that have a similar method in writing where it's not directed, it's more channeled in a way. Like I feel like I don't get a choice at all about when I write a song. I can't sit down and be like, I'm going to write a song about this. It's just so divine and magical, it feels for me. And I have managed to meet other people as well that write in this way, which is, I feel something really beautiful and pure in it when there's no direction and it's just surrender to whatever the music is at that time.
And that's beautiful. And I'm looking at you at the moment and I can see obviously you're in your beautiful garden and you've got the sun. It's just sort of
really starting to shine through,
just as you're talking about this spiritual way of creating your music. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
And I mean, from talking to you, you are quite a spiritual person as well. Is that something that's always been a part of your life?
To be honest, it started off, I was raised up in a Christian family and I went to an all-girls Catholic school and I just felt something was just missing the bar with it, something that I didn't quite understand. And I guess in religion, in some religions, it teaches you that it's outside of you and that you need to go and search for something. But what spirituality has taught me, and I guess my time in Canada, being surrounded with those mountains and those trees and everything, that it is really all within you. We hold the key.
Yeah, and look what's coming out as a result. So
it's so beautiful.
So in regards to all your process, I mean, you are quite independent with what you create and what you put out there. But is there anybody else who's sort of involved in your processes in regards to creating or getting your music out there?
I've been working with my friend, I don't know if you know who she is, her name is Keely Connolly.
Okay.
She started up redoing this beautiful bus and turning that into a studio. So I've been working with her in the recording process.
Oh, fantastic. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've been having along this journey?
Well, I guess funnily enough, when I try and record music and I try and split it up and record like the instrumental and then the vocals, it almost creates a bit of a disconnect for me. I feel it is like the first EP that I released and recorded, we recorded it live off the floor, and that was the easiest way that I've ever recorded. So I'm wondering if when I re-record that I do record it all live. I feel like that's probably my biggest struggle that I've had.
And what was your experience like in recording that as a live set? Like how did you find that?
It was actually really fun. I just met the Courageous Mountain Rangers, the bluegrass band that are on the EP with me, like a week beforehand, and we had a jam, and what they brought to the music was exactly what I had wanted, but I didn't even know it. And they learned it so fast, and then boom, because I only had like 2 weeks left of being in Canada, so we had to do it all really fast. And I guess that was the blessing in it, because we didn't get to think too much on it. We just let it be what it was.
Yeah, which works so well with your processes as well. So yeah, that's great. So if everything sort of aligned for you, where would you like to end up with your music?
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm so I'm just would like to stay where I am almost. Like the way that I get to intimately connect with people in it. Like I don't know if that would be the same if I ever played really big gigs or whatever, you know. I quite love just being right there with everybody, and what that is, I feel like I'm here. I feel like I don't want to be anywhere else, which is really cool, I guess.
Yeah. Is that what you enjoy the most about being a musician? It's the going out and the performing with people there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's
What is
nothing more special than being present with people in that moment, because it's like, it's so often in our crazy lives that we're just thinking about the next thing, or we're stuck thinking about the past. But when you're watching a live performance, like for me, I'm just fully in that moment with them. And when I get to see people be in that moment with me, it's pure joy.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. So from all your experience, from your performing and from getting up and songwriting and creating all this music, what advice would you give to any musicians that might be watching this back and maybe inspired by you?
Keep doing what feels right, and don't be anything other than you, because there's
Yeah.
no one else that can do what you do. We all have a unique sound to bring and a unique truth to bring. And if we're trying to recreate something that's already been done, then it's a waste. We all have so much important things to say, and just keep being you. Doing what
Oh,
feels
that's
right. Don't listen to what
beautiful.
anybody else has to say. If it feels good for you, fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we do finish up?
Oh, not really, I guess. Just, keep doing what is fun and enjoy the heck out of life, because we don't know how long we have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where can people find you if they're looking for your music?
You can find me as George Dacheff on any of the streaming platforms. I also have a website which you can check out and keep up to date with when I'm playing, if you're in Perth or whatever. Or, yeah.
Or if you'd like to visit Perth?
Yes,
Yeah.
completely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been absolutely amazing.